to you by DraftKings. Let's do some more or less. Swagoo, Tua, more or less 263.5 passing yards against the Bills.
I'm going to go more because he's going to have more. And it's about trying to push the ball down the field. I know Jalen Waddle is out, but Tyreek Hill is going to have to be the guy. They're going to have to find unconventional ways to get 10 the football and allow him to cook. And remember, G, you can throw it 1 yard. If it go 90, guess how many passing yards you got on that play.
And Tyreek is more than capable of those. Mike T, let's talk about the Steeler game. Mason Rudolph, more or less 1.5 touchdown passes.
Greeny, I'm going to go less. Look, I know this is basically a bye week for the Ravens, but John Harbaugh, there's going to be a lot of pride there. And I know Mason Rudolph has made a couple of plays here, but I'm just hard-pressed, even though it doesn't mean as much for Baltimore, that they're going to go in there and put up a lot of points against the Ravens.
Now, the Steelers need the game and the Ravens don't. We'll see how it does play out. In Graziano at Lambeau Field, Justin Fields, the more or less number is 256.5 total yards.
I'm going more. I mean, the Green Bay defense hasn't really been anything special. They were good last week against a rookie for the Vikings that was a little overwhelmed. Justin Fields is playing well. I don't think the Packers defense will have answers for him. They may be able to outscore the Bears, but I think Justin Fields has a big statistical game.
Here's what I can tell you. Justin Fields, in what might be his final game in a Bears uniform, is excited about playing in front of that crowd at Lambeau Field. Listen to him.
It's going to be a fun environment to walk into. Their home field. I know their fans going to be loud because there's not much to do in Green Bay except watch football. But
All right, so he's talking smack at the Pack. We'll see if they can make him walk that back because it might be whack. I mean, I don't know what you think about that, but one way or another, why are you looking at me like that?
Listen,
it's bars. I'm dropping bars out here.
Drop bars earlier. Stop.
Yeah, okay, it didn't work then either.
Get some Bananas Foster.
So that's inside joke. Okay, we got two. We really got to look
there.
I got to tell everybody. I can't help it.
Go ahead, tell them.
All right, so G in the break, y'all. G asked me, what does barbecue chicken mean? I was like, that mean you cooked. So he said, so it would be like me saying he got Banana Foster. What?
Of all the things you could have said.
I don't know why that was the first thing that jumped to my mind.
Banana Foster's right with the little torch.
I get it. Right up there at the table.
Banana Foster's at the table.
RC,
they light it on fire. I get it.
Exactly right.
Just maybe not as universally relatable
Greeny way
as barbecue
of saying
chicken.
Barbecue chicken because he probably doesn't want barbecue in his hands. It's okay, Greeny. I totally get it.
If you've never had Bananas Foster, I really recommend it.
Man, I'm sure we can get some delivered.
They come right to the table.
Yeah.
They pour the cognac on it. They
light
set
it on
fire to it.
fire.
It's delightful. You know where they do that a lot? It's New Orleans. I would think you guys would know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the game here.
Not so much in Green Bay.
Now, Green Bay, not quite as much. But I got both sides of this game, okay, because there are fascinating stories on both sides. I want to start with the Green Bay side of it, to be honest with you, because once we get to the Chicago side, we'll never get off that. Green Bay, RC, is the world paying enough attention to how well... Oh, we've just lost Ryan, I'm told, so I'll come to you here, Marcus. Is the world paying enough attention to just how well Jordan Love has played the last 7 weeks of the season?
They are not, okay? And for a guy to be right here with the potential of playoff contention with one win in a division where obviously we thought that Detroit would win it, but just giving him the opportunity. And it goes back to when Brian Gutekunst drafted Jordan Love. This is why the succession plan was a success. He was able to sit back, he was able to learn, and now you can't listen to a damn broadcast without somebody saying, who does that look like? What, the 2 feet off the ground when he throws a touchdown. And you think about this Green Bay team, and I thought before the season, I said, as long as his maturation and what we thought he was learning behind Aaron Rodgers and in this offense and already having a great understanding and grasp of what they want to do offensively, as long as these young stars around him start coming into their own, they can have success. And right now, man, to be in playoff contention is a big deal for a first-year starter.
Greeny, I think there's so many interesting parallels on the other side. Last year, the Detroit Lions started their 2023 season by saying all week, if we're not in, they're not in. And Dan Campbell in Detroit beat Aaron Rodgers in his last game in Lambeau. And I feel like Matt Eberflus is making a real charge to keep his job, is saying, hey, We're not going to be in. They're not going to be in. And we're starting the 2024 season, and we're going to beat them. They beat us on opening day. And that Bear defense, Greeny, has played really good football the last month.
Look, the Bears have just become a better team than they were. There was a moment in time this season we thought they were the worst team in the NFL. They are most certainly not that right now.
Yeah, it's a fascinating game because the Packers have played well, and Jordan Love has played at a high level. And as I mentioned earlier, the wide receiver, the pass catcher group could be as healthy for this game as it's been the entire second half of this season when you look at who's been practicing, Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave, that kind of thing. It's still a very young group. All of his pass catchers are first or second year guys. It's his first year as a starter. Young players, young teams can be inconsistent. Even during this excellent stretch they've had, they've got a loss to the Giants, right? So you don't really know what's going to show up in terms of Green Bay. I think we've had a lot of questions answered this year about Jordan Love. I think we've had a lot of questions this year answered about Matt LaFleur and that organization and its plan, and I think we tip our cap to them because it looks like they were right all along and they're headed in the right direction. Just be careful because it is a very, very young group, and you don't always know what to expect.
I'm excited about the experience that he's going to get.
No question.
Because this is a playoff game
100%.
for them. So for him to have that opportunity in his first year is great.
In our sport, actions speak louder than words. When Aaron Rodgers was out in California, there wasn't a last minute, oh my God, we got to go recruit him and save him. They knew all along, as you said, Swagoo, this was the plan by Brian Gutekunst. The decision was made last February, and it's been validated all season long.
Fair enough. So we've got that. The future looks really bright for Green Bay, whether they win or lose on Sunday against the Bears. Obviously, another win would be nice for them. The other piece of this, and RC, I'll start with you because you weren't with us earlier. I think it has become the hottest button topic in the entire NFL right now. It will dominate at least a portion of the NFL offseason. And I can tell you that in Chicago, it's all anyone is talking about. Justin Fields has been really good, RC, the last few weeks. He has shown you stuff that maybe some people didn't know he had. Is it a fait accompli in your mind that whatever happens on Sunday, the Bears draft Caleb Williams and they move on from Justin Fields?
I think the Bears have already moved past that, but not because of Justin Fields. You know, since Justin Fields was leaving Ohio State, Greeny, I've been a Justin Fields fan. I thought he had extreme talent. I thought he had the arm talent to push the football down the field, which we see with his connection with DJ Moore. We all understood how good he was with his legs, even though they were underused in college. And what Justin Fields has shown you down the stretch is that he can play through uncertainty and he can play through adversity. Those are the things you want in any quarterback, much less a young quarterback. But I believe the business of football is going to take over in Chicago. I don't believe they're going to look at his record through the latter part of this year. They're going to look at his record in totality. I don't believe they're going to look at his film through the latter part of this year. I believe they're going to look at his film in totality and say, as a young quarterback, we can now restart the clock with a Caleb Williams, with a Drake May, and add more pieces around that quarterback. And I'm telling you right now, that will be a mistake. Justin Fields is going to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber quarterback going forward, whether it's in Chicago or somewhere else.
I totally agree. And I will finish it by saying this. You use an expression I like a lot, that the talent sets the floor and the character sets the ceiling. You know what else Justin Fields is?
Yeah.
He's a leader.
Yeah.
That kid is a leader. He was a leader in college. He was a leader during the COVID era in the Big Ten when they weren't going to play. Right. And he has done, through really, really challenging circumstances since he got drafted into the NFL, he's handled it all extraordinarily well. So you know the makeup of that kid is something you want.
Think about the dynamic. Think about the opposite, because it's relevant of what RC just said. Think about the opposite of what you thought about Zach Wilson in tumultuous times, as opposed to what you thought about Justin Fields. Right. Now I'm just saying that because this is the same draft, right?
Now we need some bananas Foster.
He okay. He all right.
I was in a good mood.
That's a far-gone conclusion. It's okay. But when you look at the point that RC brought up, which was the great one, is that how he's handled this situation. But more importantly, he's played well. Like that's really what it boils down to. So Justin Fields not only helped himself as far as a decision-making process in Chicago, there are teams that are going to be waiting for Chicago to make this decision. And he may end up in a better situation than he's.
And guys, that's why this is such a fascinating discussion, because when you look at it sober and dispassionate, both things can be true. Everything RC said is true. Agree what you said. Justin Fields is a good player. He's a great leader. That's all true. But at the end of the day, when you look at the facts and the data, it says take the potential franchise quarterback and get him for roughly $9.5 million a year for the next 4 years and go from there.
And that's the thing. Somebody else will feel that about Justin Fields.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and who knows where else he might wind up. Meanwhile,